In this video, I'm going to do a very quick overview of all the different controls that you'll find inside of a whimsical board. We'll start with moving and zooming, since this is pretty fundamental. The first thing to learn about is panning. You can do this by holding down the space bar, and what that will allow you to do is essentially grab the canvas and move everything around. There's a number of different ways to zoom, but one of them is these bottom right controls where you can zoom all the way out or all the way in. You can do this with keyboard shortcuts, or you can click this middle button here and you get a couple different options inside of there. Now, also in the bottom right, you have a help button where there's just a menu of different options here, fairly standard. Also, you have Time Machine, which is a cool feature that we have, which records everything that happens inside of a board, and you can replay that and restore or make a copy from a certain point in time. Pan mode is basically like holding down space permanently. It lets you kind of avoid moving any of the objects. You're just going to move the canvas in this case. It might be helpful if you're presenting or doing something like that. And then you have undo and redo. Next, we'll move on to some of the board menus in the top right. These you will find your avatar and anybody else who is in the board at the moment will show up right here. Then you have your comment sidebar where any comments in the board will show up and you can click on them and the board will move to where that comment is located. You also have some share options. You can get a link, you can download, you can copy to your clipboard, you can get some embed code to put it in another app or website, and you can print. You also have search, which you can search this board or your workspace for different text. And finally, the more menu, you have the theme and template option. We won't cover that now, but it's there if you would like to check it out. Finally, we're going to talk about the main toolbar, which is right over here in the top left corner. Right now, you'll see that we are in mind maps mode, and that's represented by this pink box at the top. And we are actually inside of a mind map board. So there's different board types, and whatever board type you select, that is the mode that you will enter the board into. But the cool thing, of course, is that you can change the mode that you are in, and so that you can do all sorts of activities inside of one big board. So let's go to flowchart mode. Cool, and now we're in flowchart mode. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how this main toolbar is organized. Essentially, you have the mode at the top, then you have any mode-specific options in this top first or second slot, and then you have some options that are available no matter what mode you're in. These are what I'm going to call the general options for in the toolbar. So you have a connector, text, image, icon, and link. So I'm going to briefly run through each of those options and let you see those. So let's just create two rectangle shapes and I'll demonstrate how you do connectors. You can click on this option or you can hit C. Let's hit C. So you can draw these connectors and they will follow the grid lines and they are resizable. You can add some text to label that. You can even drag that label around if you'd like. That is how connectors work. You can create some standalone text just like this. You should be pretty familiar with some of these controls. You have sizing, bold, italic, some of the standard styling options. You can change the color. Let's go ahead and change a few of those. Boom. Easy enough. Let's do an image. You can add an image, which will bring up your file picker by clicking this icon or by hitting I, or you can paste from your clipboard, which I've just done. And you also get some object-specific options in this contextual toolbar, such as crop or replace image. I haven't mentioned before, but on the right-hand side here, there's some global options, which are duplicate or comment. You also have a bunch of goodies inside of this menu. Um, let's look at icons now. Icons are here. We have a library of thousands of high quality vector icons. They come in 3 different styles. You can see this. Let's go ahead and pick this chart here. And you have multicolor mode. You also have a fill and an outline mode. In fill and outline, you can change the color to whatever you'd like. You can scale these up infinitely or scale them down, and they will maintain crispness because they are vector. Finally, there is a link option. For this, you can search your current folder and you can add a link to a board there, or you can just put in a URL and we'll add that to the board for you. So you can click this, and in order to modify that, you can just click the favicon image on the left, and then you'll get your options here to change that. And that is the very quick, broad overview of the controls inside Whimsical board. And if you're interested in learning more, there are also tutorials that go in depth on each of the different modes inside of Whimsical, so you can become proficient quickly inside those.